And so here's what's scary. This football team can be a lot better.
Hey, friends. Welcome into the TexAgs Rewind. We're presented by Specs. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got the Fan Show guys and Matthew Dawson with me. Chad making his debut on the program. Hello, sir.
Hey.
Killed it.
Howdy.
Hey, professor, doctor, sports enthusiast, bow tie expert.
Appreciate it. Hey, this was a lot of fun.
Bow tie wearer.
Bow tie wearer.
Hey, watch. He brought it today. He was good.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thanks
And I
for making
think
us look bad. Appreciate that.
no. I like being on this side of the table. I feel safer. Okay. I can feel like I can make some more crazy takes. Yeah. Right.
Wait, so you think our side's going to fight you?
Well, if you did, I got him, so I think we're okay.
He's a trained assassin. That's true.
But no, thanks for the invite. It was a lot of fun. You guys rock. Good job.
Hey, what was your favorite part of the show?
Favorite part of the show was I'm going to do a recap. Hey, we're on TexAgs Live.
Okay, I think you're not going to be invited again. Just kidding. My favorite part of the show was Jim Turner. But I love Jim Turner.
He got wild this week.
Didn't he?
And I am loving it. Can't wait to get on the boards and watch. Can't wait to get on premium, watch the rest of the content because
he's great.
And again, I say this every time. Like I love that he says we. Like he still loves this place. He's still like he makes you want to run through a brick wall.
My favorite part was the fan show. We were rowdy. We were hostile. We were mean to each other.
There's going to be a meeting with management after today.
Sure, but hey, you know what? It was good radio. I guarantee you that.
Coach Turner, though, man. Coach Turner.
Dawson, your favorite part of the show?
I mean, Coach G coming in, or sorry, well, Jared Chow. There's two.
He's
Coach
also
G's.
Coach G.
They're both Coach G's and G's. Usually young kids.
McGee and Swope were here in studio, and also it says studio on my thing in studio, and also by the way, Shea Dixon. They called him the Cajun Lucci. He's the LSU insider. That was really good. It's the Rewind. Check it out.
He's got a really good offensive line. Obviously, he's not a Jaden Daniels. He's not running up and down the field. He's going to stay in the pocket. And in fact, one thing, speaking of vulnerable, is maybe he stays in the pocket a bit too long. They want him to go take those free yards or keep an RPO. But he's a gunslinger coming out of Marcus High. I mean, he loves to throw the football, so he'll sit back there as long as he can to get a ball downfield. But he was one of the guys that you guys on the Luchador podcast this past weekend after the win over State, y'all were going through the names of quarterbacks in the SEC that sort of just haven't lived up to expectation or have had a stretch of bad games. And Nussmeier wasn't one of them you talked about. And people forget Nussmeier is making his 7th start. He's been in college a long time, but he sat that first year, and then Jaden Daniels shows up. So he sits 2 more years. And I guess this day and age, that doesn't happen a ton, but sits it out, waits it all the way to year 4, and now is getting his start. So vulnerable, I would say that he has not become turnover prone to any large degree this year. He's played within the scheme, within the offense, and that's been good because when we got to see him in spurts, it was coming in after Jaden Daniels or whomever before. LSU was already winning, and it's like, hey, I get 2 drives here. I'm about to throw this thing 80 yards downfield, and it would get picked off. Now he's playing very calm football. He's gotten a couple of road tests now with South Carolina and Arkansas. Came back, I don't know how, from that 17-point deficit at South Carolina. And then LSU's coming off their best win of the season at Arkansas. And Arkansas is not a Georgia, an Ohio State, an Oregon. They're a quality football team. They went up there at night. They jumped on them early, 10-0, and they put it away. And it was just never close. And 16-10 was about as close as it got. And then they distanced themselves there. So I think that what we've seen is him kind of shed the gunslinger mentality a bit in favor of just playing within this offense. And there's not a nonstop deep vertical game. There isn't all of that. They will kind of dink and dunk you or take what you get.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like your quarterback goes down, you're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? This guy steps in and just doesn't blink an eye, right?
Yeah.
Or, you lose an offensive lineman, you're like, oh my gosh, how are we ever going to make it? And you don't blink an eye, right? I think Coach Kubiak used to say this with the Texans. It was, every great football team is going to have to handle, or every football team has to handle 3 huge events that are, things that they have to overcome. Adversity. And man, it's so true. Like that's always been in the back of my mind. And every year you look, no matter the football team, no matter the level, they have to handle these 3 adversities well. And injuries.
Losing to Notre Dame out the gate, you lose your quarterback.
and easily this team could have folded.
Yep.
You know, they could have just. But you have Coach Mike Elko, who's keeping them focused on the process and, you know, going all the way back to spring ball. These guys have a vision and a purpose, and Coach Mike Elko is helping them reach that and attain that. You start winning, and it builds momentum and confidence. And then you look up and go, holy cow, this guy's putting us in a position to win football games. He's really smart. And then, I mean, it's deadly. You can go, you get hot. I love to see it.
Yeah. Get hot like you at number 17. Dude gets hot when it matters most, right? We talked about the Giants team back in like 2009. They won the Super Bowl. Remember they beat Brady? You know, what did they do? They got hot late, right? And so I think one of the signs of a great coach is your football team is just always getting better. They don't peak early.
Yeah.
Right? They're just making marked. And so here's what's scary. This football team can be a lot better.
Oh,
right? Offensively
we haven't
last
even
week,
peaked.
I mean, how do you even say, like you have turnovers, you have near turnovers. You're having to convert 3rd and long, which is, by the way, one of the most impressive things that came away from that game. And you still put 34 points on the board on the road. Mississippi State's a better football team than the record indicates
100%.
And what they get credit for. But all that aside, you still put 34. You convert all those 3rd downs. And you're coming away from the game, like, as an Aggie fan, you're like, golly, I'm disappointed. But, dude, you just went on the road and beat a Mississippi school that we have not had success against for the last decade.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I never
Pretty
felt like
impressive.
that game was in doubt. Like,
No.
they went and they took control. That first offensive drive response going all the way down the field was huge, in my opinion. And then from then on, I think they owned that game. Now, they kept them around because of the turnovers, but.
Let's take a quick look right here, right? So this is your first look at it right here, right? So this is 2-jet. This is a 6-man protection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? And the center ended up calling that player out right there, which puts him on that to outside. Okay, so right now, so anytime you're coaching during a football game, right, and you're in my shoes, and you're the coach, right? So a lot of times, it depends on how much help you have. Now, today, they got more coaches than they have people in the stands, right? So they have a lot of help. Okay, but when I was here with Sherman and Sumlin and these guys and Jimbo, I didn't have as much help, so you got to do a lot yourself. And today, they have the video. I didn't have the video back then. Okay, so now, having said that, when you got the slide side right here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Against 1, 2, 3, 4. So a lot of times he drops, so it ends up being 4 on 3. So if the 4 on 3 ever lost, right, they were in deep trouble. So they shouldn't lose, right? If you're 4 on 3, you should never lose. All right, and that's where you set up the triangle reader. He's 1-on-1. So now, if I'm the game time, I want to watch him, and I want to be able to evaluate if you can lose in a 1-on-1 block. I understand that. Okay, I'm not going to say that to him, but I understand. At the same time, I don't expect these 4 to ever lose unless they pressure. If it becomes 4-on-4, okay, now they're all in 1-on-1 blocks, and whatever happens, there's a little more leniency. Not that there's a lot. There's not a lot. Okay, so now watch right there, those 4. So he's the triangle reader right there. He can see the linebacker. So if I'm 60 right now, I'll show you what 60 is doing right here. And I'll show you what the left tackle is doing right now. I'll show you what the right guard's doing right now. So I'll show you so you can see it this way. Let me get my code here. All right, so when they do this right here, right, if I'm that player right now, okay, if I'm that player, I'm looking at the guy I'm blocking. I'm not looking at the linebacker. And that's what a lot of people teach them. Hey, all 4, you got to look at the linebacker. Well, if you're playing LSU on Saturday night here, okay, at Kyle Field, and you're looking up at the linebacker against our defensive front, you're going to get your kicked. You understand? So we are obviously right. That's not the way you teach it. He's blocking that player. And then if the uncovered player next to me, the triangle reader, if that player goes, he's driving me. Bop, 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 bop. He's driving me, and I'm getting off.
Who is the best one-loss team in the SEC? And there's some, or actually in college football. Let's just go in college football in general. Because there's a 1A, 1B, 1C. I think there's several answers to this. Maybe A&M is on your list. We're about to find out. Maybe LSU is on your list. Maybe it's Texas. Maybe it's Ohio State. Maybe it's Georgia. So, Roy, you start us off.
Yeah, that's a tough one once you start going across the nation because, and this is where I'm at, just kind of personally, is more down to Power 4, right? And then we have the group of 5 million, whatever. It's really a Power 2. All right, can we be serious with ourselves? All right, it's us, it's the SEC, and it's the Big Ten. So that's really where you're plucking your best one-loss teams from.
Yep.
That's kind of my thought. It absolutely makes me sick to my stomach to say that Ohio State might be, because, again, that entire state could just drop in the plane and I'd be fine with it. I think, and with my eyes, because what I saw in Austin, and what I saw when Ohio State went to Eugene, right? I feel like it's either Georgia or Oregon. Those are kind of 1A, 1B. And then you kind of look at, what is it, Illinois, right? Look, and I love the run Illinois has been on. I do. Like, huge fan of the Illinois run. My wife's from Chicago, big, fighting the Illini.
Right.
Then breaking out the old school helmets too, right? I love it. But is Illinois for real kind of thing, right? And so then you just have to look back at the SEC. All right, well, who is it? Is it Alabama? Oh, no, it can't be Alabama. That's a shame. So is it us or is it LSU? If you want 1C, then let's talk Saturday late night.
Yep.
And I'll tell you who 1C is, or maybe, depending on the outcome of the game, 1B or 1A. Yeah. I think there's a tight clump there.
Yeah.
When you talk about one-loss teams.
Chad?
Matt, this isn't the time to look up your high school highlights. So I would say, when you say nation, and it's tough to say Ohio State, but I'm not going to say it. I think Georgia's 1A.
Yeah.
You look at their schedule, and this whole, they barely, stop. They went in Texas with their quarterback throwing 3 interceptions and still won by double digits, 2 scores.
Yeah, should have been more.
More, right. 1B, I'm going to say Ohio State. You're talking about 1 loss. 1C, Roy, you said it. Talk to me Sunday morning. Right, talk to me Saturday night at Kyle Field, and I'll yell over to the across George Bush. It's A&M. So I'm going to say us 1C.
Us 1C? I like that.
We're us 1C.
I like it. I do like that. I mean, there is one ACC team that we can include in that.
All right. I know that you consume a lot of TexAgs. I don't know if you've consumed a lot of the Rewind, have you?
I actually watch Rewind, listen to Rewind on my way home from work every day.
Okay, so then you know what to tell the people.
Well, I'm going to pass the baton off to you because that's too much pressure. Well, you know what? You should probably like it.
There we go.
You should probably subscribe and share it.
Yeah.
Comment and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
TexAgs Live.
Hey, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks.
It's The Rewind. We'll see you next time.